Good morning. So we got the YouTube chat application, and we can double check that. Working last time. Okay, so that works, and the other one works. Okay. Which has actually been idle long enough to do the sound. I think that my regular one did not work last time. So I'm going to have to keep an eye out for when that gets expired. And then test it again. And then we'll have to come back with the actual development version and see if we can debug that. Well, we could do a little bit of debugging off of that little packaged app. But the one feature that is actually not working from before is timestamps. Re-editing usually fixes the quote breaking. Anyway, I just commented out the old implementation because we don't have date.from string. And I'm forgetting exactly where that went. Oh. Well, it looks like it might just be a package. Depreciated time. It's dates. Time zone data. Another ISO parser, assuming that it is ISO. So this explicitly does not cover parsing of that because it doesn't want to deal with what it means to be at a certain offset. You know, as far as daylight savings and other stuff. So we've got two different implementations. This returns a description. Huh. And has error messages. It has its own time type. And I think it may be repeating some of the definitions from regular time. That's milliseconds. Okay, and it has POSIX. It is not time size. Adding or subtracting across the daylight, so it will not adjust the offset. Takes the view that it is a mistake to use strings as date transformer. Nevertheless, third party may use them. UTC it normalizes and discards it. UTC no matter what. Well, time.posix is only in UTC, so. All right, so this attempts to do some error messages, but it kind of keeps it in a record representation. This one is more about going straight to POSIX, which is really yeah, from string to time. The are not time zones. Hmm. Right, because it can't display it haphazardly. Being useless, UTC offset creates a larger data transfer payload. Well, I mean, it is kind of nice to be able to have some sense of the time, but from time. Oh, and then just straight up decoder POSIX. Well, I mean, I guess ISO 1806.decoder isn't too bad. I could still alias it as timestamp. And basically it adds the offset. I mean, I don't know why it even says in UTC. As far as I know, POSIX doesn't do UTC? Okay, we're gonna rebuild anyway. Elm install. Killer package name though. That's gonna have all the formatting, isn't it? Yep. All right, so now we even need, yes, we're currently putting POSIX times in there. Import ISO 8601. Yeah, 8601. Now I mean, decoder is not a good name to expose. That's my only complaint with that. ISO 8601.decode. Am I misinterpreting the documentation? Decoder. All right, so we should have proper timestamps again. I think this can just... Yeah, we have no login information, but we have the stream. And having refreshed... It should be roughly equivalent to having the token dropped. Ooh. Nope. Okay, that one got it. Does this not work anymore? Oh, nope, there it goes. It's just a really slow poll. Oh, and that's in my notes as well. Okay. Well, it's still sort of starting with this. So we've got URLs. So I guess the main things we're working with are URLs and times. All right, so we got that. We're done with you. Restore. Well, okay. Now, it compiles. We haven't actually proven that we parsed any timestamps. Messages. Published at POSIX. Okay, that seems reasonable. Restore timestamp parsing. Oh, were there any other instances of that? Decode. Okay. That should have been the only one. The other thing was percent encoding. Did it become percent encode? Yeah, there's the compiled one. No, not. It's a CD source. Got a little bit better list. So we have URL parsing and such. So scope is a straight up string. Well, what they're telling us. Oops. Okay, fine. Oh, I hid the window somewhere. Really? Okay. The URL use URL builder instead. Use URL parser instead. Well, that's a little bit of a separate thing. So that might actually go back to the whole URL parser stuff. So we've got percent encode. This is just a straight up string. So there's no reason to build that up. The URL builder is only useful for like building URLs like in an application. Can't actually, so redirect URI. Oops. So this is used here. URL for redirect. All right, so we got the URL type from the app. Yeah, because we're just reusing a given URL. We don't know all the parts. So that's the view. Okay, so this is parameter parsing. These might be a thing to consider. We've got redirect. We've got URL for redirect again. Is that ever used outside? Or rather, a not percent encoded version? No. But it does feel more like a thing for the encoding format. Form URL encoded. Well, now this is an authorized URL. We might be able to use the builder stuff here, which will take care of the percent encoding, actually, for both of these. So we'd still provide this as a straight-up string. This might be, so cross origin would do that entire thing, but I'd have to specify the path in an alternate way. This would be cross origin that may have a hash on the end. So that's just a maybe difference-wise. This would be a cross origin. We would have to convert this to a list. And then query parameter is wait. No, this is the path. And then this thing has a series of string constructors that say what the type of the argument is. But we'd have to like do some sort of like make the list and filter it. Or prepare the list, because there's no like nothing. Option. No, I don't have to use the full URL for this. I could just use toQuery to get that much. That would take care of percent encoding things. But I would have to take this list. and then filter it. Would I want to take the list and add something to it, or create the list and filter out? Well, there's no typed value I can put in there. That would be a no-op. So I would have to be able to take the list and modify the list. So to make this okay, we have not done anything with URL Builder. Is there anything that's going to conflict with base URL here? So these all have straightforward conversions. I almost want to make an encoder module for this now. Got all the decorations. And we will not need to percent encode these. Now for the awkward part. So either I pass that list to a function that either returns the original list or a list with a value on it, or we have the auth state thing return a single item list or a empty list, and we append the whole thing. Either way, this does not handle optional values very well. String int okay. So is the list of string or the empty list. Huh. How does the argument order on plus plus actually work out? Well, it's like I could maybe chain that, but it's a little dodgy. The only problem here is that we kind of have to parenthesize this whole thing. We can take I usually prefer, well, I normally indent those, but then that gets confused with the list append. It kind of made gnarlier code. I mean, it's better in the sense that we have automatic encoding. What? Okay, we've got something badly wrong here. If it's making an error there. Let's try taking the entire thing out. Verify that it's in there. Okay, success. No, it's the list that append. I'm going to take that out. And that out. And still to query it. Okay. Then we'll take that out and that out. And we have just this. Okay, so it's something in here. Ah. Don't know where string came from and why it threw it off that far. Alright, so this is the authorized URL, so we need to make sure that works. Okay, seems to work. Where else are we doing this? It's percent decode. Okay, that's in the parsing. That's a very different thing. So this is technically form URL encoded. URL builder is returning it with the question mark. So in order to use that here, we would have to drop the first character. And the other problem is that I think I left this code from attempts to do full login. Code. Full server-based login. Well, server-ish. Oh my gosh, the decoders. Yeah, we're not generating codes anywhere. I don't think. Yeah, this could be coming from YouTube, but I don't think we're ever doing that. It's been a little while since I worked on this. Okay, code nothing. If we go through an authorization loop, code nothing. Yes, I don't want to touch code that's not being exercised right now. No. Percent encoding. What's the percent encoding? That's actually decoding. And that's argument parsing. So it's longer too. Use URL builder for authorize URL. Now the URL parser can be a little bit of a nasty beast. So I'm gonna have to see if I want to keep this as a wrapper. So now we need to go to parser. It's running for the path part. Yeah, so I don't really care. The normal parsers. Yeah, so I gotta do something weird with the two different parsers. So I mean, we've already got fragment and query. But I don't know if there's a run function without converting it to a top level parser, which I don't like. Yeah, this is saying what it turns into, but there's not an actual function call here. I mean, I guess the true false would be nice. Oh, wait, list.maybe map. That seems like a new function. Is that like list extra? Okay. List.maybe map. Maybe list int. Custom. Okay, string. List of string to A. Parser A. Post equals to, show a couple of posts on, you could say custom post, maybe map, string to end. Well, string to int returns a maybe. They're no longer doing error messages. And custom wants a... Is that a list string to A, or is that a list of string to A? I think it would have to be list string to A. So that custom post would pull out all post items. And give you a list of strings. So you would give it a function that attempted to convert them into int, and isn't that maybe he meant to type filter map? Because it's A to maybe. Yeah, I mean that was supposed to be filter map. All right. I'm going to take a short break and be back in a few minutes to continue trying to figure out if there's any way to run this directly or if we have to turn it into a full-fledged URL parser. Oh yeah, I mean, they're huge. That looked like it might be opening up to something. Whoops. Found letter.
Oh no.
Sorry, Misto. Oh. Uh... Uh... Yeah, no kidding.
Many viewers, may as well just start the game then. So, as you probably know, Oxygen Not Included has created
Oh no.
I'm inside the ground right now. I'm down here. This is where I am. Okay. Oh my god. How Don't worry, guys. We're ready to go explore the planet now. Oh shit, this is...
Alright, welcome back. Alright, so custom is just going to feed us a set of strings. Transform a parser. Result. That's a maybe. Yes, that may have been something that changed. And the documentation example didn't get updated. Okay. But there's no function to run a parser. Transform a path parser, path parser, path parser. Query. Converts them into normal parsers. Oh, so this is a straight up conversion. This is an operator that does it for you. This may be handy if you are needing query parameters, but we're not parsing any path segments. Get a fragment parser. Map tuple.pair. Fragment identity. Well, that's for small fragments, not full on. Yes, these are not full on function calls. You have to call parse, which means you would have to call parser.query. So we need to make a query parser. Call parser.query. So we can call parser.parse. This is all getting deep enough into the weeds. I almost want to make a separate module just for my parameter parsing. I mean, doing this all as a parser might be more efficient than what I'm doing. I could probably convert everything into some sort of parameter structure. Although I kind of liked being able to pick things out piecemeal. To route url.fromString. Wait, what? Oh, because we had to get a URL from a string. We've got a URL object here. But parse returns a... Oh, parse returns a maybe. So we could do individual little parsers here. And we are always returning strings and dealing with things later in the event we need to, which we can revisit later. All right, so we are checkpointed, right? Yes. Now, we don't get to say... Let's convert a query parser into a parser, which should do whatever it needs to do to care about that. We still have to import... Now, if query parsers expect the question mark, do I have to string operate to turn a hash into a question mark? We'll deal with fragments later. url.parser.parse. url.parser.query. And oh my gosh. Is this... Yes, it is parser.query. Now, I think these both deal with like strings and things. They both, yeah, strings and ints, so you can't just jam them together. url parser.query parser.query URL dot parser dot query dot string key. The parser returns a maybe, but we're trying to parse what? Parser for URL fragment. Well, it's just identity. Oh, just list, just map? Oh, there is something there, which is nothing. Oh no, list is an element. Tuple.pair string, and the fragment, which is just a string. Have to figure out how to run that. So parser takes a parser and a URL. So this looks more like location. Processed by you. Okay, so we're not even syntactically correct. Maybe string. Er? Parse returns a maybe of A. String returns a parser of maybe string. Query so they're not including the fully qualified names here at all. Because this looks like they're both parser. Yeah. URL parser to query parser, which is unfortunate. They don't include that. Query.string. Need query parameters, but are not parsing any path segments. Which we are. This should give us a parser. The type definition on this though turns URLs A to B. String is a string to A, int A. sblog. and final return type, which has to be the same as the return type of this function. A to B, B to C. Well, for that to be able to map up, then the return type of 1 would have to be a function, right? For this to be a function, this would have to be a function. Maybe that is a function. All right. We're going to say foo equals url.parser.query.string. Oh. Well, I mean, this wouldn't make any difference to type signature, but it still bothers me. So 1 is of type none. I think that's a thing they throw around. Or I mean, I could make it like float or something nonsensical too, just to get the type error. Two. Now, this is still going to be a little bit compound, but it'll tell me what that compound is. Oops. Cannot find a none type. Never is what I was thinking of. url.query.query. Okay. URL parser may be string A. It should be never. Produces URL parser.query.parser may be string. That seems reasonable. Because this value might not be there. Parser may be string A. To A. So we took a query parser that produces maybe strings. And when we convert it into a regular parser, it says it's a function of maybe string to unknown. I think what I want is url.parser.parser Maybe. String call produces. Type notation says never. The body is maybe string. That's extract search argument again. Okay. So this is perfectly acceptable. Is parser, maybe string. Needs to be a function so that I can pipe arguments to it. What? Oh. Oh, because we still need to keep the URL.parser.parse. So I guess that's the other thing I needed to type. One. Maybe string. So I guess what I neglected to do here was 3. I think. Well, no. Parse is going to be a URL to maybe string. Three, produces a URL to maybe string. The type annotation is maybe string. So you're a parser, maybe string to maybe string. But when we call parse on it, or maybe string, we get a maybe. So the parser itself is not guaranteed to produce anything. Maybe of whatever's here. Which is why they have this. So would that be maybe with default nothing? What I really want to do is have a way to like and then the results. I guess 1 indicates that the parser succeeded at all. And the other indicates that, well, we found something that could be a query string, but that value wasn't there. So we just say, well, if it's nothing, then it's still nothing. So right now we have 2. Yeah, there's supposed to be title there. Title and live chat ID. Yes, search argument. So I guess the better way to do this is take both of these. Yeah, so that is not working. Period. Now, I'm not actually combining this as a full URL parser. To expect, yeah. But I have no way to run just the query parser. What about... Oh. Well, operators, I guess. Are kind of a pain. How do you expose an operator? Precedence, no. Well, all right, so the source code for this module has to, wherever the heck they put it these days. It used to be in Elm stuff. No, it's in like Elm Env. Hello, Razut. How you doing today? Elm platform? No. 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 Where do you put your stuff these days? I wonder if the Elm upgrade post does that. No blog. Because there's the thing about not doing the individual directories. That might be release notes. Record renaming. No, it doesn't seem to be that. Optimize. .elm. So that should be user directory. Am I just blind? What? I wonder if it goes into like one of the app datas. I frequently do programming for money, so I guess you'd call that professional. I thought I was software engineer for a while, which is kind of the same thing. So CD. So that must be on Unix-like systems. So what is it getting on a Windows system? So I would guess like one of the... Is app data here? App data, and then figure out which one it is. Local low, not very popular. Roaming, Elm. Oh! Package REPL. Oh, I guess it was doing some caching. Okay. Parser is definitely a separate thing. We know it's dealing with some operators. Oh, this is not breakdown in the... Oh, it's mostly kernel code, I guess? So I need a second level of... Oh, this is not query parser or URL. Yeah. But we need a second level of parentheses here. One for the exposing and one for the operator. Because I really don't know how to use... Okay, that compiled. But it did not pull out our parameters. So do I have to include all the other junk that might be there? Which I really don't want to do, because all I care about is the query, not the other junk. Because I did say top. No. course, none of the examples huh. This really changed the URL because of their naming convention. Wait. Okay, this is the URL. Fragment, host, path. Oh, public. And you want us to be everything super explicit. And we need another stinking operator. Did that compile yet? Ah. I have to know everything in the path in order to parse the queries. Really? So query parser, we have just these examples. Does this... There's a documentation. The README is going to be, well... Is there anything... Well, there are examples. Oh, this is still 018. Complete with that API. Blog. It's a link. This is constructing. So that's not enlightening. And there is kernel code. So we get all the documentation in the documentation. And prefixed. Yeah, only do it if it's there. And that's done in kernel. Parser? Okay, I don't know why I couldn't find that file. Oh, maybe I had a cache from before here? So internally, these are something about states. Visited, unvisited, params. Ah! They're just sitting there, and I can't get to them. Custom string, custom number. Parser AA. If next equals stir, then the state advances. Otherwise, we have nothing because we don't match. String to something. All right. The function string to something now all this is trying to do path stuff. Parse after, parse before. Map state. User string comment, map comment. User and ID. Wait. Okay, no, comment is a struct. User and ID. Well, that means it takes two arguments. Map comment. Right, a parser. User and ID takes a string int a. Okay. Doesn't help me. I guess there's the same trick I was using before. Where we ignore all this junk. url.parser.query. And we take this and we knock out everything we don't care about, which is the path. Path is a string. It didn't match because there was unmatched path segments. There has to be a better way to do that, right? Right. Does not consume any path segments. Segment parser. Yeah, but it has to consume it. Maybe with default not found. Oh, and I guess we've technically got a string builder down here as well. So that works. Now, I don't know how we do a query parser on the fragment, though. I may have to monkey with the URL to get that to work. Query slash parser query visited, unvisited, params frag, value, query parser. Query q.parser. Query parser params. So that is applied to fragment. Parser of the URL fragment. So it just applies a function to it. The function I want to apply would be the thing embedded in a query parser, but I can't get that out. Yeah, this only works if you actually have no query segments. Hey, Chuck LeBowen, how you doing? I'm very frustrated with the URL library. Oh, hello. Are there any other... Create and parse URL. That's specific for building base 64. So no. I mean, we could see if there's any useful ideas. Callback info. Token URL parser. Import URL.parser. Custom. Oh. They just did straight up custom. And then did their own string processing. Yeah, split, split. Same thing I used to be doing. Alright, so then how... But it's formatted like a... Well, but this has to be applied to the query only, right? If segment. So this is apparently a root-only callback. Access token URL parser. Yeah, it looks like it would only work if the only thing in the segment was the auth information, and there was no subpath. And then I don't even have, I think the authentication response is the one that has the hash stuff. I would have to say that the search equals fragment. Oh, and it looks like my timeout has expired. I think it's expired in both of them, actually. Oh, nope. There goes one of them. Okay, so that actually did come through. It just took a while. Oh. There's the other one. Just want to make sure we're still getting... Well, we just got a message, so it's probably getting 200s to the poll. But it gives you a pretty long... Yeah, status 200. Okay, well... I guess I just didn't wait long enough the other day when I was trying it out. So it's like I have this code that's been working for me. But we had this library anyway. They're both ugly pieces of code, kinda. And we're doing all this manual string manipulation and node decoding, or encoding, decoding. But this basically requires me to mangle URLs. To use the query parser. Alright, so what do we have for hash arguments we could actually test with? I think... Yeah, probably access token. Oh, that's right. If we're doing code based, then it changes where we get that from. So that is on compile auth loop. Access token. Okay. So the way we would have to do this would be to say that path equals there and fragment, oops. Fragment equals location dot search, I think it is now. Okay, it must not be. Where straight up URL. Nope, it is query. Oh, the old one must have been search. We reload that and log in. Access token, nothing. All right, so what are we getting here? Oh, no, fragment equals. We want query equals, which is kind of terrible. Access token. Okay, I'll state mismatch, I believe that. So that works and it's more compact. It's just really... modifying the URL just really feels like the wrong answer. What are our categories? Learn, I guess. Can I use now you see, to do this properly, I should probably do an LE that takes these functions and just like prints out the results. And this is pretty much why I didn't deal with libraries before. They never quite fit. Well, and it was just pulling in the library, but it's kind of it had to be brought in for other things. And I'm sure it handles some extra corner cases and things. And we can try a simple version. Dependency on URL. Now, anyway, I was trying to convert my query parameter parsing over in hopes it might cover more corner cases. However, I've found the library extremely awkward to deal with. It seems there is no way to use the query parser directly. I must turn it into a path parser, and a path parser okay. So that's just gets me a task to be fine. Must match the entire path, leading to hacking the URL object. Oops. Right, Vim. Actually, I think if this is Markdown, actually, this is like pre-formatted code. Oh, you know what? There actually is a preview here. They're just hiding it. Similarly, the API I am working with can return auth calls with a hash that has query-like parameters, leading to a similar hack. All right, so that'll be out there. Okay, we're not doing authentication on this right now. So that's a bit of path code. So we still create our query strings. And this is kind of... This line also got a little bit long. Which one do we want? No, this was our root query. Do we have URL argument parsing? That's kind of what we did. Oh, I don't need the parameters anymore, though. Okay, compiled. So the possibly different way to do this would be to make a structure for all of my, to have a structure that was all of the parameters I might possibly receive. Oh, and I can remove some debug logging too. But then I'd have to have separate names for search state and hash state, and then sort that out at some later time. All right, so we're still not printing anything. So that's more compact. It's just, I don't like the fact that I'm hacking up the URL objects. I mean, I don't know. Well, let's commit this and then try something. Use URL parser with some hacks. So what if we did, I was thinking I could make a URL object that was just the part I'm interested in, but I'd still have to specify all the arguments for all of the parameters, so it's actually kind of ugly to do that. So create query string. We're back to builder. Oh, really? That adds. Wait, what does builder make? Builder makes strings. It does not make URLs. Which means to get the path that I'm at, I would have to parse it into pieces so I could feed it back into these functions. Which means we kind of have to do this. And then we have to see if that ends up doubling our question marks. So it's query parameters. So now we've got URL dot builder. This one's a little easier to stick together. if we have a title, then we do URL dot string title. This means more from maybe that map actually. Which is sort of nice. Then don't need you. Keep elements that satisfy the test. Yeah. It's a function though, so this would have to be filter map identity. And then URL.toQuery. All right, so we need to do the login loop. And it does double the question marks. Wasn't there, because I think I had used it as some sort of drop. Yeah, drop left one. Whoa. So log in. All right, so whoa. That's a tab, not the entire window. So now we've only got a single question mark. So this is a little nicer. I mean, I guess I could have made a function that did the same thing as far as setting that up, but the drop left is kind of ugly. Okay, construct updated query URL with URL builder. Well, that was an interesting little exercise. POSIX timers. We can look at that a little bit. I'm going to take a short break first.
this go?
Oh, very far down, very far. It's gonna take you a good
Goodness.
5 minutes to get down. Have fun.
Oh man, I think I'm using that power while I'm
Oh,
sitting here spinning my
going
wheels.
pretty quick. Don't
Maybe
you
I should
worry.
be.
I just hope you went the right way. There's 2 ways to go at one point.
Oh yeah, we hit a
Well, I'm
regular
going
old
pretty
cave
far
system.
down, so
Come on, come on, come
pretty
on.
sure.
I'm on a.
Yeah, it's basically World War I with canon. Can we get some more damage going here, please? Artillery beam? You're so awesome! Let's do that. Boom, boom, boom. His weapons are basically down at this point. We're really... I feel like I would have liked... There we go. That's a good amount of damage. Yeah, man, artillery beam's on point. 2 missiles, 1 drone, 35 scrap, won't accept surrender. 3rd time that artillery beam is a total bro and takes out their cloaking. Boom! 1 fuel, 1 drone, 45 scrap. Nice. There's a store here.
Oh no.
Okay. So for actual times, it's reasonable to be returning POSIX for these. What were those time functions? And that's actually a different package. Millies to POSIX, which we apparently never call. Oh, for making a dummy value. And then POSIX to millies. Model.time. Well, that's a response. I think that's coming back from time.now. So it's gonna be. Well, no, I mean I could map it before sending it on. Dot live chat message. Model.messages. Last time, new time. And that is the timestamp we were storing the message. Now we could turn around and convert that. But this is specifically because we have to do math between them. This is math between AT and a time. So now we've got sort of like arbitrary unit conversions for different kinds of math. Yeah, message polling interval. So we've got one place that we need to do compare a time difference between POSIX timestamps. We've got one point where we need to do a difference between a no, auth expires is a auth expires I ended up storing as a straight up millisecond, I think. Because we had to do math on it. And then ultimately use it in more math. Okay, so it's not too bad right now. If I stored this as a POSIX, I could have a single difference of POSIX timestamps function, which would have to do a bunch of extra work, but it would make the rest of the stuff look nicer. Oh, and then there's view, which is modeled at auth expires again. So difference of POSIX timestamps. Although we have to share that code somehow. And if I did that, if I convert that to POSIX, I would still have the problem that I would have to convert this to milliseconds, add it, and then convert it back. Mm. So either I'd have to put it in view so I could share it, or I'd have to have some sort of like time extensions. So I'm essentially creating time extra, which is the pattern you see all over the Elm repo. Exposing. import time. We could really just do that here. POSIX. Difference AB equals POSIX to millis A minus POSIX to millis B. So if you did minus A, and you could flow that nicely, it would look weird if you did it like this. Result is called a difference. Oh. I thought there were technical terms for the different positions in this. The object of mathematical operation. Plus is the symbol for the operation called addition. Oh, no, they're both operands. Order of operation. Positions. Oh, maybe certain things have specific names. Like division has quotient and... Or maybe I'm thinking of assembly language. So if I did this as minus, it would be sub this from that. So if you looked at it, it's obvious. So it would be minus plus, and then for parity, add, nice, this gets weird. Because this is actually more, this is a, no, it's more of a int POSIX. This isn't as much a subtraction. You know what? And minus suggests this should be an int too. And then this should be, I mean, I guess plus works. So now you oh, so actually auth expires. Well, am I using this elsewhere? Not dealing with crazy stuff? Nothing, nothing, nothing. Not really. Auth expires equals just. The names I've chosen are not very memorable. Time diff dot plus expires in expires in nothing. Maybe dot map to float. So now this is time diff dot delta model dot time, and all the parentheses no, I think you should be up there. To float because time.every takes a float. Didn't? Yeah. That methifiers, maybe map. Time diff dot delta t model dot time. And this is not dividing. Module time diff exposing time diff dot elm. Oh, the view needs it. Oh, I ended up doing add, not plus. Oh. I did both. And we exposed plus, so that makes sense. Body is int, but the type annotation says it should be POSIX. What? int POSIX look at the right one. The body is int. Oh, right. Let's try and get the order of operations to kind of match up. That might still be off. Oh, okay. I wasn't actually sure about this top part. Now, it actually matters here for timing things. But compilation is probably pretty good there. So we just kind of wrapped around it. We think that's not an issue. All right, so I was off file anyway with these. So we could maybe see if we could do something with the proxy on this, but we've got a Elm 19 update. Let's see, is the public page actually serviceable here? All right, I have not set this up at all. Just probably should. Oh. Well, we already know it's upgradable. It was an Elm project, but it's not what I'm working on currently. Donation config. It's an exercise. Package update's always been there. This one I actually think I can work on now. Exercise, following videos. Something the test framework. Oops. I'm going to revisit my generator now. Hostables and app. Missing the same two. Hosting clips. That's OBS. Mic check is actually a Elm app. And there's other stuff that's in OBS script. Docker name picker was not Elm. Schedule from videos. And this one didn't have any tests. This might be the one we can use as a application host to update Twitch API. And that's been updated. So yeah, next time we'll see if we can get this to compile. And we should be able to use schedule from videos as a host, which will be its own little challenge. But that's it for now. Thanks to Sturmy Ice Leopard, Deadly Taco, Tuggen Lake, Too Left for to Cry, Ned Makes Games, Kuro Katsuni, Asaret Gaming, and Catnox for hosting me. Do we have anything to recommend? I'm expecting to be back with Astroneer this afternoon, and then Oxygen Not Included probably the rest of the week, assuming nothing comes up. Thursdays I usually take off for programming on the mornings. Are you working today? Yes. So that's the approximate historical schedule. I think things have mostly settled out from disruptions a little while ago. Been a little overlong on some Oni streams lately, but I think we did that one yesterday. Yeah, well, Matthew is working on selling his blog. CSS is always something that frustrates me, so I don't know if it's going to be frustrating him as well, or if maybe he has some better techniques for dealing with it. Anyway, if you look for someplace cool to hang out, that's someplace cool to hang out. Thanks for hanging out with me.